The annual Hughes family reunion always felt like a carefully choreographed dance of disappointment. With me playing the role of the wallflower, everyone pretended not to see. I'm Lucy, 35, successful in ways my family would never understand, and apparently a complete failure because my womb remains stubbornly empty. Did you hear? Ruby's trying for her third. My younger sister Hallie's voice carried across Aunt Margaret's perfectly manicured backyard, drawing the usual crowd of cooing relatives. I gripped my wine glass tighter, watching from my isolated perch on the patio steps. Lucy, darling. My father Eduardo's voice made me stiffen. Perhaps you could help clear the tables instead of... He gestured vaguely at my wine glass, his disapproval evident. Your sisters are discussing important family matters. Important family matters. Code for baby talk. Sure, Dad. I stood, brushing off my dress. Wouldn't want to interrupt the breeding council. That attitude is precisely why... He stopped himself, but I knew the rest. Why I was alone. Why I was different. Why I wasn't really part of the family anymore. Hey, Lucy. My cousin Finn appeared like a lifeline, grabbing my elbow. Need help with those tables? Before Dad could object, Finn steered me toward the scattered paper plates and plastic cups. You okay? He asked quietly. Peachy. Nothing like being the family's cautionary tale. I started stacking plates with more force than necessary. Did you know Aunt Margaret actually asked me last year if I'd considered adoption? As if I owed her an explanation for my life choices. They're all dinosaurs, Finn said, making me smile despite myself. But hey, at least Ruby's got your back, right? I glanced over at my older sister, who was now surrounded by a circle of admiring relatives. Ruby caught my eye for a brief moment before looking away quickly. The same Ruby who used to defend me, now too caught up in her perfect life to notice how they'd pushed me to the margins. Ruby's got her own concerns, I said flatly. Speaking of which, Ruby had broken away from her admirers and was whispering intensely with our mother in a corner. Even from here, I could see the worry lines creasing her forehead. Something was wrong. I heard she's been trying for months, Finn said softly. No luck yet. The irony wasn't lost on me. Ruby, the golden child, facing the very thing that had made me an outcast. I should have felt vindicated, but instead, I felt a complicated mix of sympathy and frustration. Lucy. Hallie's voice cut through my thoughts. Mom wants everyone inside for the family photo. Right, because heaven forbid we don't document another moment of perfect family harmony. I muttered, but Finn heard me and snorted. Inside, the usual choreography began. Parents in the back, grandparents seated, children arranged artfully in front. And me, relegated to the edge where I could be easily cropped out if needed. Scoot closer to your sisters, Lucy, Mom directed, waving her hand impatiently. I took one step closer, maintaining enough distance to make a point. Ruby glanced at me again, this time with something that looked almost like guilt in her eyes. Perfect, Dad declared, though his gaze lingered disapprovingly on the gap between my sisters and me. Now, before we take the photo, I have an announcement. The room hushed. Dad loved his dramatic moments. As you all know, family is everything to us Hughes. We've maintained our legacy through generations, growing stronger with each new addition. His eyes swept the room, pointedly skipping over me. And today, I'm proud to announce that we're establishing a family trust fund specifically for supporting the next generation's education and future. The room erupted in excited murmurs. I remained silent, already knowing what was coming. Of course, he continued, the primary beneficiaries will be those carrying on the family name through their children. And there it was. Another reminder of my failure, wrapped in a neat financial bow. That's not fair. Finn's voice cut through the congratulatory noise. Lucy's just as much family as... Finn. I touched his arm, stopping him. Don't. The camera flashed, capturing the moment perfectly. My father's stern satisfaction, Ruby's hidden distress, Hallie's awkward smile, and me, the family disappointment, standing slightly apart with my chin held high. What none of them knew, what would have made that photo so much more interesting, was that while they were all busy judging my empty womb, I'd built something far more meaningful than they could imagine. Something that would soon force them to see me differently, whether they wanted to or not. But for now, I simply smiled for the camera, already planning my next move in a game they didn't even know we were playing. Another successful match. Reagan burst into my office, waving the contract papers like a victory flag. "That's our 15th this quarter, Lucy. We're officially the top surrogacy agency in 3 states. I couldn't help but smile at my best friend's enthusiasm. 5 years ago, we'd been working out of my garage, dreaming of helping women build families. Now we had a sleek downtown office with a waiting list of clients. "Remember when everyone said we were crazy?" I asked, running my fingers over the embossed logo on our business cards. New Life Beginnings. The name still made me proud. "Everyone except me," Reagan corrected, perching on my desk. "Though I still think we should tell your family. You've built something amazing here, Lucy." I shook my head, remembering yesterday's family reunion. They wouldn't understand. They'd probably think it's some sort of sad compensation for my own shortcomings. The phone rang, interrupting our conversation. Reagan grabbed it, her professional voice taking over. "New Life Beginnings, how can we help you today?" Her eyes widened suddenly, and she mouthed "Ruby" at me. My sister's voice was faintly audible through the receiver, sounding desperate. "Yes, we do have availability for consultations this week. Would Thursday at 2 p.m. work for you?" I frantically shook my head, but Reagan ignored me. "Perfect, Mrs. Stone. We'll see you then." After hanging up, Reagan faced my glare. "Before you say anything, this is perfect. She doesn't have to know you're involved. I can handle her consultation. And when she eventually meets the CEO? What then? Cross that bridge when we come to it." Reagan's expression softened. "Lucy, you've helped hundreds of women have families. Maybe it's time to help your own sister." I flashed back to last Christmas when Ruby had cornered me by the punch bowl. "You know, Lucy," she'd said, wine glass in hand, "there's still time to freeze your eggs. Not that you seem interested in having a real family." "Fine," I conceded, "but I'm not meeting with her. And don't let her know I'm involved." The next few days passed in a blur of meetings and contracts, but Thursday arrived too quickly. I locked myself in my office, watching through the blinds as Ruby entered the reception area. She looked different, smaller somehow, without our family's audience. Her designer handbag couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes or the nervous way she clutched her paperwork. "Mrs. Stone?" Reagan greeted her warmly. "Right this way." I turned up the volume on my office speakers, which were connected to the consultation room's security system. A necessary precaution we'd learned when dealing with sensitive medical discussions. "I never thought I'd be here." Ruby's voice cracked. "We've been trying for 18 months. The doctors say it's unlikely I'll conceive naturally again." "Many women face similar challenges," Reagan assured her. "That's why we're here." "My family, they don't know I'm here. They wouldn't understand. They think having babies should be easy, natural." I felt a twist in my stomach. How well I knew that particular family pressure. "Everything discussed here remains confidential," Reagan said. "Now let's talk about your options." I listened as they discussed medical requirements, legal procedures, and financial arrangements. Ruby's voice grew stronger as hope replaced desperation. "Your success rates are impressive," she said. "I read about your CEO in Business Weekly. She must be remarkable." "She is," Reagan replied, and I could hear the smile in her voice. "She built this company from nothing, helping women when everyone said it couldn't be done." "I wish," Ruby paused. "I wish my sister could see this place. She never wanted children, but maybe if she'd seen how many women struggle." I clicked off the speakers, unable to listen anymore. Ruby had it all wrong, as usual. It wasn't that I never wanted children. I'd simply refused to let that define my worth. My phone buzzed with a text from Finn. "Family dinner tonight at Eduardo's. Ruby has news, apparently. You coming?" I stared at the message, then at my office door, behind which my sister was planning her future without knowing I held the key to it. "I'll be there," I typed back. Tonight would be interesting. I'd sit quietly while Ruby announced her private matters. I'd watch our father's concern, our mother's anxiety, Hallie's attempted comfort. And I'd know something none of them knew, that the sister they'd dismissed as a failure would be the one to give Ruby what she desperately wanted. Sometimes revenge doesn't need to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's as quiet as sitting back and watching karma unfold all by itself. Dad's dining room felt smaller than usual, crowded with unspoken tensions and the weight of Ruby's impending announcement. I arrived last, as always, sliding into my seat just as Mom was serving her signature lasagna. "Nice of you to join us, Lucy," Dad said, his tone carrying that familiar edge. "Some of us have important family matters to discuss." "When don't we?" I muttered, reaching for the garlic bread. Ruby sat across from me, fidgeting with her wedding ring. Her makeup couldn't quite hide her puffy eyes, and she'd barely touched her wine. A dead giveaway something was wrong. "So," Mom broke the silence. "Ruby, honey, you said you had something to tell us?" Ruby's husband squeezed her hand as she cleared her throat. "Yes, we've been trying to have another baby." "Oh, wonderful," Mom beamed. "Just what this family needs. Another blessing." I stabbed at my lasagna, waiting for the other shoe to drop. "No, Mom." Ruby's voice cracked. "We've been trying for over a year. The doctors say I can't—" She broke off, tears spilling onto her cheeks. The silence that followed was deafening. I watched our parents' faces cycle through shock, denial, and that particular brand of family disappointment I knew so well. "But surely there are treatments," Dad demanded, as if he could intimidate Ruby's fertility into submission. "We've tried everything," Ruby whispered. "The only option left is surrogacy." Mom's fork clattered against her plate. "Surrogacy? Having a stranger carry your baby? Ruby, that's so unconventional." I couldn't help myself. "What's wrong with unconventional?" All eyes turned to me. Dad's jaw tightened. "Lucy, please. This is hardly your area of expertise." "Actually," Finn piped up, "didn't you mention working with a fertility clinic, Lucy?" Ruby's head snapped up. "You do?" "I consult sometimes," I said carefully, shooting Finn a warning look. "I know a reputable agency if you're interested." "You would help?" Ruby asked, hope creeping into her voice. Even after what?" Dad interrupted. "Lucy, this is a private family matter. Your sister needs real support, not some questionable business connections." I stood up slowly, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. "Funny how I'm family when you need my connections, but not when it comes to your precious trust fund." "That's different." "Is it?" I challenged. "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like the same old story. Judge Lucy for not having kids, but the moment Ruby struggles, suddenly alternative methods are worth considering?" "Lucy," Mom pleaded, "don't make this about you." "I'm not." I turned to Ruby. "The agency is called New Life Beginnings. They're the best in the region, but don't take my word for it. You can look them up yourself." Ruby's eyes widened with recognition. I actually had a consultation with them yesterday." "You what?" Dad exploded. "Without consulting the family?" "That's exactly why she didn't tell you," I shot back. "Because everything has to go through the family council, doesn't it? Heaven forbid anyone make their own choices." Hallie, who'd been quiet until now, spoke up. "She's right, Dad. Times have changed. If surrogacy can help Ruby have a baby that won't really be hers," Mom interjected. "It would be my egg, Mom," Ruby said quietly. "My baby, just carried by someone else." The agency explained everything. They're very professional. I watched the family dynamics shift in real time. Ruby, usually Dad's ally, was pulling away. Hallie, caught in the middle as always, was actually taking a stand. And Finn? Finn was looking at me with dawning realization in his eyes. "Lucy," he said slowly, How exactly do you know this agency? I grabbed my purse, avoiding his gaze. Like I said, I consult. Ruby, call them again if you're serious. They'll take good care of you. Wait, Ruby called as I headed for the door. Would you, would you come with me next time? I know we haven't been close, but you seem to understand this stuff. I paused, hand on the doorknob. Behind me, I could feel Dad's disapproval radiating like a physical force. But Ruby's voice held something I hadn't heard in years. Respect. Sure, I said finally. Just let me know when. As I walked to my car, I heard the argument erupting behind me. Dad's booming voice, Mom's protests, Ruby's defiance. But for once, I didn't care. The pieces were falling into place, and soon they'd all understand exactly how much they'd underestimated me. I pulled out my phone and texted Reagan. Get ready. Phase 2 is about to begin. I can't believe you're really helping me, Ruby said as we rode the elevator to New Life Beginnings. After everything. After everything what? I prompted, watching the floor numbers climb. After how we treated you. How I treated you. Ruby's reflection in the elevator doors looked small and uncertain. I was horrible, Lucy. All those snide comments about your choices. The elevator dinged before I could respond. Reagan was waiting in reception, professional smile firmly in place. Mrs. Stone, welcome back. And this must be your sister? Yes, this is Lucy, Ruby said. She's been incredibly supportive about all this. Reagan's eyes sparkled with suppressed amusement. How wonderful. Shall we go through the surrogate profiles I've selected? In the consultation room, Reagan spread out several folders. I'd helped choose these candidates myself, but Ruby didn't need to know that. This one, Ruby said immediately, pointing to a profile I knew well. Sarah, she seems perfect. Excellent choice. Reagan nodded. Sarah's completed 2 successful surrogate pregnancies for us. She's actually available to meet next week if you're interested. Ruby's hand found mine under the table. Would you come with me, Lucy? To meet her? I don't think, I started, but Reagan cut me off. That's a wonderful idea. Family support is crucial in this process. I shot Reagan a death glare, but she just smiled innocently. Now, Reagan continued, we'll need to discuss the financial arrangements. Our CEO is very particular about transparency. About that, Ruby shifted in her seat. I'd love to meet her. Everyone speaks so highly of her work, and given how much money we're investing, the CEO prefers to remain hands-off during initial stages, Reagan said smoothly. But I'm sure once everything is settled. My phone buzzed. A text from Finn. Dad's on the warpath. Called emergency family meeting tonight. Says he won't let Ruby ruin the family name with this surrogacy business. Everything okay? Ruby asked, noticing my expression. Dad's called a family meeting, I said. About your situation. Ruby's face fell. He's never going to accept this, is he? Do you need his acceptance? No, Ruby said slowly. But I need yours. And I never thought I'd say that, after how superior I've been about having kids naturally. Reagan excused herself, leaving us alone with the profiles and our shared history. Why did you really agree to help me? Ruby asked. You could have let me struggle after everything. Because I know what it's like to be judged by this family for your reproductive choices. I met her eyes. And because maybe it's time things changed. My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. Please come tonight. Your father's beside himself. Ruby needs family support. The meeting's at 7, I told Ruby. Want to face the firing squad together? She managed a weak smile. Just like when we were kids and broke Mom's favorite vase. Except this time, you're not throwing me under the bus. No, she agreed quietly. Not this time. That evening, we walked into Dad's study, shoulder to shoulder. The family was already assembled. Dad behind his desk, Mom perched nervously beside him, Hallie on the couch, Finn leaning against the bookshelf. This stops now, Dad announced before we'd even sat down. Ruby, I've made an appointment with Dr. Marshall. He's a renowned fertility specialist. No, Ruby interrupted. I've made my decision. I'm going forward with the surrogacy. Have you lost your mind? Dad's fist hit the desk. What will people think? They'll think I wanted a baby badly enough to explore all options. Ruby shot back. They'll think I'm brave, not ashamed. Brave? Dad scoffed. It's unnatural. And to go to some random agency? New Life Beginnings is the top agency in 3 states. Finn interjected. I looked them up. Their success rates are incredible. And how would you know about success rates? Mom asked me suddenly. You seemed very familiar with them. I felt all eyes turn to me. The moment stretched, taut with possibility. Because I trust them, I said finally. And Ruby should too. Dad opened his mouth to argue, but Ruby cut him off. I'm doing this with or without your blessing. The only question is whether you want to be part of your grandchild's story. The silence that followed was broken only by the ticking of the grandfather clock. I watched Dad's face, seeing the moment his certainty cracked. We'll discuss this later, he said finally, which from him was practically a surrender. As we left, Ruby squeezed my hand. Thank you, she whispered. If only she knew just how much there was to thank me for. She's pregnant. Ruby burst into my office unannounced, making me nearly spill my coffee. I'd gotten careless about leaving my door unlocked, too comfortable with our new routine of sister lunches and agency visits. Sarah's pregnant on the first try. She threw her arms around me, crying happy tears. The agency just called. That's wonderful, I managed, awkwardly patting her back while trying to subtly slide the company financial reports under a folder. I'm just here dropping off some consulting paperwork. You're always here, Ruby said, wiping her eyes. The staff treats you like you practically run the place. Before I could respond, Reagan appeared in the doorway. Mrs. Stone, I was just about to call you. I see you've heard the good news? Yes, I can't believe it's really happening. Ruby beamed. I have to tell everyone. Lucy, will you come to dinner tonight? Mom's hosting a celebration. I don't think... Please? You're the only one who's been there for me through this whole process. It wouldn't feel right without you. Reagan caught my eye over Ruby's shoulder, raising an eyebrow. I sighed. Fine. I'll be there. Hours later, Mom's dining room was packed with family members, all pretending they'd supported Ruby's decision all along. Amazing how success changed their tune. A toast, Dad announced, raising his glass. To modern medicine and to our newest grandchild-to-be. And to New Life Beginnings, Hallie added. Ruby says they've been incredible. Yes, Mom chimed in. We must invite the CEO to the baby shower. What was her name again, Ruby? I actually haven't met her yet, Ruby admitted. But Lucy might know. She's there all the time. Consulting, I said quickly. Just consulting. Speaking of consulting, Finn spoke up. I did some research. Did you know New Life Beginnings was founded 5 years ago by a woman who wanted to help others after struggling with infertility herself? I choked on my wine. Trust Finn to dig too deep. Really? Ruby looked fascinated. Lucy, have you met her? What's she like? I should check on the dessert. I stood abruptly, but Hallie was already heading to the kitchen. You know, she called over her shoulder. It's funny. The company started right around when you stopped coming to family events, Lucy. The room grew quiet. I could feel Finn's knowing gaze, see the wheels turning in Ruby's head. Lucy? Ruby's voice was uncertain. Is there something you're not telling us? More wine? I grabbed the bottle, but Dad's hand stopped me. Answer your sister's question. I looked around the table. At Mom's confusion, Dad's suspicion, Ruby's dawning realization. Only Finn looked unsurprised, the smug bastard. I consult, I repeated firmly. That's all. Then why does your name appear on their business registration? Finn asked innocently. I mean, unless there's another Lucy Hughes who... You did what? Dad's voice thundered. You own New Life Beginnings, Ruby whispered. All this time you've been... I think I should go, I said, standing again. This time, no one stopped me. Lucy, wait. Ruby caught up to me in the driveway. Why didn't you tell me? Would it have mattered? I turned to face her. Would you have come to me for help if you'd known it was my company? I don't know. She hugged herself against the evening chill. But all those times I judged you for not having children, you were helping other women become mothers? Ironic, isn't it? Why keep it a secret? Because this family only values one kind of success, I said bitterly. The kind that comes with a baby on your hip. That's not... She stopped herself. No, you're right. We've been awful. I've been awful. But Lucy, what you've built, it's amazing. You helped me have a baby. Don't tell them, I said quickly. Not yet, please. But promise me, Ruby. She studied my face for a long moment. Okay, but you have to promise me something too. When the baby comes, you'll be there. Not as my fertility consultant's sister, but as my baby's aunt. The aunt who made their existence possible. Behind us, the front door opened. Dad's silhouette filled the doorway. Ruby? Lucy? We're not finished discussing this. Actually, we are. Ruby linked her arm through mine. Lucy's taking me home. We have a lot to talk about. As we drove away, I caught a glimpse of Dad's face in my rearview mirror. He looked lost, like a man watching his carefully constructed world crumble. Good. A press conference? Reagan stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Are you sure about this? Ruby's 4 months along now, I said, straightening papers on my desk. The family's going to find out eventually. Might as well do it on my terms. By announcing New Life Beginning's 5-year anniversary and revealing yourself as founder in front of local media. And inviting my entire family to attend. I handed her the guest list. Front row seats. Reagan whistled. That's either brilliant or insane. Your father's going to have a stroke. He'll survive, unfortunately. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of preparations. The conference room was booked, press releases drafted, and invitations sent. My family's RSVPs trickled in. First Finn, obviously, then Ruby and Hallie, and finally my parents, probably hoping to damage control whatever scandal they imagined I was about to cause. The morning of the conference, I arrived early to find Finn waiting in my office. Dramatic much? He grinned. Though I have to admit, I'm looking forward to Uncle Eduardo's face when what? Dad's voice made us both jump. He stood in the doorway, Mom hovering behind him. What exactly are you planning, Lucy? You'll find out soon enough. I checked my watch. The conference starts in 20 minutes. Your seats are reserved in front. Now listen here. Dad started, but Ruby's arrival cut him off. Lucy, the press is already here and, oh. She stopped short, seeing our parents. You came. Of course we came, Mom said. We had to see what new embarrassment. Mom! Hallie appeared behind them. Stop it, we're here to support Lucy. Support her in what? Dad demanded. More secrets? More schemes? Actually, I stood, smoothing my blazer. You're here to witness a revelation. Reagan, are we ready? Reagan poked her head in. Packed house, time to start. I led my family to their seats, ignoring Dad's continued protests. The conference room was indeed full. Local media, industry representatives, and current and former clients. Sarah, Ruby's surrogate, sat near the front, her pregnant belly a visible reminder of why we were all here. Taking the podium, I faced the crowd. Camera flashes went off as I began to speak. 5 years ago, I founded New Life Beginnings with a simple mission: to help women build families on their own terms. Today, we've helped create over 300 families, with more success stories every month. I saw Dad shift uncomfortably in his seat. Many of you know us as the region's leading surrogacy agency. What you don't know is the personal story behind our founding. My own family, I paused, meeting each of their eyes in turn, taught me exactly how it feels to be judged for your reproductive choices. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. Dad's face turned red. They taught me that family isn't just about biology or tradition. It's about choice, support, and understanding. Sometimes the people who judge you the most are the ones who end up needing you most. Ruby grabbed Hallie's hand, tears streaming down her face. So today, I'm proud to announce not only our expansion into 3 new states, but also the creation of the New Life Foundation, providing financial assistance to families seeking surrogacy services. The room erupted in applause. Dad stood abruptly, but Mom pulled him back down. And I'm especially proud, I continued, to announce that our first foundation recipient is my own sister, Ruby, currently expecting her 3rd child through our program. The cameras swiveled to Ruby, who stood, showing off her surrogate's pregnant belly. Dad looked like he might actually explode. Because family, I concluded, looking directly at him, is about more than just carrying on a name. It's about carrying each other through the hard times, even when, especially when, it doesn't fit your perfect picture. The press conference dissolved into chaos after that. Reporters shouting questions, clients sharing stories, my father storming out with Mom hurrying after him. But I barely noticed. That, Finn said, appearing at my elbow, was better than any revenge fantasy I could have imagined. It wasn't about revenge, I replied, watching Ruby talk animatedly with Sarah. It was about truth. Lucy? Hallie approached, eyes wet. I'm so sorry. For everything. What you've built here? It's incredible. Thank you, I said softly. That means more than you know. Reagan appeared with a stack of business cards. 3 news channels want interviews, and the mayor's office called. Also, your father's in the parking lot having what appears to be an existential crisis. I smiled. Let him crisis. I've got work to do. The truth was finally out, and for the first time in years, I felt completely, utterly free. The knock on my office door came 3 days after the press conference. I looked up to find Dad standing there, looking older than I'd ever seen him. May I come in? He asked formally, as if we were strangers. It's your first time visiting my company, I noted, gesturing to a chair. What changed? He sat heavily, eyes taking in the awards on my walls, the framed magazine covers featuring New Life Beginnings. Your mother made me watch all your TV interviews. And, he cleared his throat. You're very articulate, professional. The mayor spoke highly of your work. I didn't do it for the mayor's approval. I kept my voice level. Or yours. I know. He picked up a photo from my desk, me with a surrogate and her intended parents at a baby shower. How many families? Over 300 successful births, 98% satisfaction rate, top agency in... No, he interrupted. How many families have you helped create? Not statistics, families. I studied him for a moment. Would you like to meet some of them? Without waiting for his answer, I led him to our photo wall. Hundreds of smiling faces looked back at us. Parents, babies, surrogates, all part of our extended family. This is Maria. I pointed to a recent photo. She tried for 12 years before coming to us. That's James and Keith. Their daughter just started kindergarten. And here's Sarah with Ruby's ultrasound. Dad's hand trembled as he touched Ruby's photo. I've been wrong, he said quietly, about so many things. Yes, you have. When you stopped coming to family events, I thought... He trailed off. I thought you were ashamed. Instead, you were building all this. I was never ashamed, I corrected him. You were ashamed of me. The door opened and Reagan stuck her head in. Lucy, the Thompson surrogacy contracts are... Oh, sorry. It's okay, I said. Dad was just leaving. Actually? He straightened his shoulders. I'd like to see more, if you're willing to show me. Reagan raised an eyebrow at me. I nodded. The next hour was surreal. I showed Dad our consultation rooms, introduced him to our staff, explained our screening process. He asked questions, real questions, not judgments disguised as concerns. And this is where we host support groups, I said, showing him our community room. Sometimes intended parents just need to talk to others who understand. Like Ruby needed to talk to you, he said softly. Like I needed someone to talk to years ago. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Dad stopped walking. Lucy, The door burst open and Ruby waddled in, her hand on Sarah's pregnant belly. The baby kicked. Lucy, come feel Dad? Ruby. Dad stared at Sarah's bump like he was seeing it for the first time. And you must be Sarah. Thank you. For what you're doing for our family. Sarah smiled. It's my honor. Your daughters are amazing women. Yes, Dad said, still looking shell-shocked. They are. Dad, Ruby said carefully. Would you like to feel the baby kick? He hesitated, then stepped forward. Sarah guided his hand to the right spot. The moment the baby moved, Dad's face crumpled. That's my grandchild. Yes, Ruby said. Thanks to Lucy. Dad turned to me, tears in his eyes. I don't know how to fix this. Fix what? Everything. The trust fund. The years of judgment. The family photos we excluded you from. You can't fix the past, I said. But you can change the future. How? Start by accepting that family isn't about who carries the baby. It's about who carries the love. He nodded slowly, then did something he hadn't done in years. He hugged me. I'm proud of you, he whispered. So proud. Can you forgive an old fool? That depends. I pulled back. Are you ready to tell Mom that her next grandchild's birth announcement will feature our company logo? He actually laughed. Your mother's already planning a New Life Beginnings themed baby shower. She's telling everyone how her brilliant daughter is revolutionizing modern families. Seriously? Apparently, the mayor's wife is very impressed with you. And you know your mother's social ambitions. Ruby giggled. She's right, though. You are revolutionizing families, starting with ours. Dad squeezed my shoulder. I'd like to make a donation to your foundation. A significant one. Dad, you don't have to. Yes, he said firmly. I do. It's time for the Hughes family legacy to mean something more than just biology. As I watched him fuss over Sarah's belly and pepper Ruby with questions about the surrogacy process, I felt something shift inside me. The wound of exclusion, so long festering, began to heal. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't in destroying the old, but in building something new. Something better than anyone imagined possible. Push, Sarah, push! Ruby's voice echoed through the delivery room. I stood on Sarah's other side, letting her crush my hand as she brought my niece into the world. One more big push, the doctor encouraged. The baby's almost here. With a final tremendous effort from Sarah, the room filled with the sound of newborn cries. Ruby burst into tears as the nurses quickly assessed the baby. She's perfect, the nurse announced, placing the tiny bundle in Ruby's arms. Congratulations. Thank you, Ruby whispered to Sarah. Thank you so much. That's what family does. Sarah smiled tiredly. We help each other. In the waiting room, our entire family had gathered. Dad paced nervously while Mom arranged and rearranged gift bags. Hallie entertained Ruby's older kids, and Finn documented everything for the New Life Beginnings newsletter. She's here, Ruby announced as we wheeled her and the baby out. Everyone, meet Hope. Hope? Mom's eyes filled with tears. That's beautiful. We named her Hope Lucy, Ruby said softly, after the aunt who made her possible. Dad cleared his throat. May I hold her? As I watched him cradle Hope, cooing softly, I remembered all the times he'd dismissed my choices, my path. Now he was holding living proof that family comes in many forms. Lucy, he said, looking up. The foundation paperwork is ready. $10 million as promised. Plus, I've spoken to some investors who are interested in helping you expand nationwide. Dad, let me finish. I've spent years trying to control how this family grows. I was wrong. You showed me that family isn't about control. It's about support. Mom stepped forward, holding a thick envelope. We also had our lawyer revise the trust fund documents. All family members are now equal beneficiaries, regardless of their parental status. And, Hallie added, we're renaming the annual Hughes Family Reunion. It's now the Hughes Family and Friends Celebration, open to all the families you've helped create. Speaking of celebrations, Finn grinned, wait until you see what Reagan's done to the office. Later that evening, I walked into New Life Beginnings to find the place transformed. Photos of Hope's birth, approved by Ruby, already graced our success wall. But there was something new. A large framed photo in the center. It was from Hope's first moments, but not the typical baby photo. Instead, it showed all of us. Ruby holding Hope, Sarah beaming proudly, me and Hallie crying, Mom and Dad looking on with joy, Finn capturing the moment. Below it was a plaque. Family is not defined by genes or traditions, but by love, acceptance, and the courage to grow. Do you like it? Reagan appeared beside me. Your dad helped with the wording. It's perfect. I touched the frame gently, though I can't believe he suggested it. People can surprise you. She handed me a stack of messages. These came while you were at the hospital. 5 new client referrals from your mother's social circle. I laughed. Of course. Mom's probably telling everyone she invented modern surrogacy. Lucy? Ruby's voice came from behind me. She stood in the doorway, Hope sleeping peacefully in her arms. Can we talk? Reagan tactfully disappeared as Ruby settled into my office couch. I've been thinking, she said, adjusting Hope's blanket. I want to work here. Not just as a success story, but really work here. Help other women like Sarah helped me. Are you sure? What about your marketing career? This is more important. You showed me that. Besides, she smiled, someone needs to handle the family outreach now that we're expanding. Speaking of family, I nodded toward Hope. How does it feel? Different than I expected. Better. When I was struggling to conceive, I thought I was less somehow. Now I know that family isn't about how children come to us. It's about how we come together for them. Hope stirred, her tiny hand gripping Ruby's finger. Outside my office, I could hear the usual bustle of the agency. Phones ringing, clients chatting, lives changing. But in here, watching my sister with her daughter, I felt the final pieces of my own story falling into place. I hadn't built New Life Beginnings to prove anything to my family. I'd built it because every person deserves the chance to create their own definition of family. That my family finally understood this wasn't just karma or revenge, it was growth. So, Ruby said, ready to help me change more lives? Always. I smiled, reaching for Hope's tiny hand. That's what family does.